What advice would I give a Yale undergraduate about his or her time here? Well, that one is an easy one. You have the opportunity when you come in here to have this enormously broad educational experience. Many people come in with an idea they're going to major in X, Y, or Z. I would say don't focus just on X, Y, and Z. Get out there and experience A, B, and C, or whatever other sequence of experiences that you would like to have. That if you study the successful people in Western cultural history over time, you'll find that they are hugely diversified and that they have been able to be creative and change the world in positive ways because of their diversity of thought. That's why we emphasize diversity in terms of our admissions policy here at Yale. We want diversity because it leads to the best outcomes. So my one point of advice here is when you come to Yale, come in and experience all of the riches that Yale has to offer.
Let me answer that with a story from my class for math majors. We were working on a result, and the proof of it is one of the most amazing pieces of mathematics in the entire semester. So there we are, setting up this proof, and we're maybe 5 lines into it, when one of the students in the back gets the idea of what's coming, and he goes out loud, "Oh wow, this is so cool." Everyone starts turning and laughing, and of course I agree with him, so we have a nice little exchange about that, and then we continue with the proof. 3 lines later, a student in the front gets the idea of what's coming, and she goes out loud, "Wow, that's amazing." At this point, everyone's on the floor laughing. It took a full minute before we could even continue with the proof. And that right there, that's what it's about. The feeling people get when they really see what's happening and how it works, and they think it's amazing and they have a great time doing it, that's what I hope will stay with them.
There's a lot of advice that I would give to Yale undergraduates while they're here, and give to them every day. But I think the one sort of unifying piece that I give to my undergraduate students is that they should try their best to live intentionally. And what that means is this 4 years that you have here is really short, but you really do have the world at your fingertips. And it's such a shame to waste it. It's not a waste to not make a plan. It's important to leave room for flexibility. It's important to leave room for experimentation in terms of your academic interests and to try things that you don't like. So by living intentionally, I think that you can leave room for flexibility, but it would be a shame to float through this experience without fully taking advantage of every opportunity that you can here at Yale. And for the most part, I think students take that very seriously, and it's important for me to remind them to do that, I think.
Particularly right now with all the activities going on, presidential elections and whatnot. As I think we all get older, it's easy to become more cynical. And the students who come in, they're very enthusiastic, particularly these freshmen and sophomore students. They want to make a difference. And I think they have the interest and wherewithal to tackle tough problems, so it actually makes me more positive about the world. The tendency as I get older is to become less enthusiastic or optimistic, but they teach me to be optimistic.
The question of what's important about this subject and about why, I think it also is why I'm excited to teach this subject, is for many students, especially American students, African studies is something that they know very little about. It is not a subject that you typically get in high school. And so there's this excitement on my part of teaching something to people where all they have are usually a lot of preconceived notions and stereotypes, and just seeing those fall away and seeing new information take that place, a new engagement. Yale in the last many years, just even since my time here, has dramatically increased the number of students it has coming from Africa. And one of the great joys for me has been that I no longer pitch my teaching towards people who don't know anything about Africa, but I'm teaching people who know a great deal. But the remarkable thing is they don't get history. History is not taught as widely or at the depth that it is taught here in most high schools that these African students are going to have gone to. And so there's a specific kind of joy and thrill in engaging on a much more critical and knowledge-driven basis, but also with people who haven't really thought that much about history, that much about how they and their countries got to the point where they are now.
Ask questions. And to keep asking questions. There's always a question behind the question. The world is a much more complicated place than it seems. Everything that we know today has a past and is contingent upon that past. When students learn to ask the right kinds of historical questions, who is using power here? Who is trying to change things? What has been represented here that may not be representative of all the experiences that came together here? When they start asking these kinds of questions, they learn, of course, to think critically, but they also learn how to actually have power themselves in guiding their own lives to make good decisions. And I think my students do learn that. I think they become critical thinkers who examine their past and who examine their present in the light of knowing how to unpack assertions, knowing how to question truths that are handed down by people around them, whether it's the president or their manager. And so it's a skill that no one can take away from you.